Hi there, my name's Kevin Renton, and welcome to QuickFire from Volt. This is where we put higher education marketers on the hot seat and fire them with 20 rapid questions with the goal of understanding what makes them tick, what makes them successful, and what their goals are for the future. In the crossfire today, we have Nate Jorgensen, Senior Director of Marketing at Miami University, Ohio. Welcome, Nate.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
Great. Tell us about yourself. Elevator pitch. What do you do at University of Miami, Ohio?
That's right. Miami University in Ohio. I'm the Senior Director of Marketing. So I'm responsible for, overseeing, working with all our overall marketing efforts, brand marketing, the creative team, the website, digital marketing, social media. I came here originally as the Senior Director of Academic Marketing. So I spent 2 years in that role where the purpose was to bring all of our decentralized marketing teams into a central team. And so that was tremendously hard work but very valuable and worth it in the end to now be working so efficiently and well together with everyone. But that was certainly a challenge. And prior to Miami, I spent 5 years as the Senior Director of Marketing for the College of Engineering at the University of Cincinnati. And that's my most recent hizzle.
Okay, let's get into the quick fires. I wanted to work in higher education because
I didn't. I never wanted to step foot in a classroom again, but I wanted to work in sports at that time. And by chance, I got my first job was as a sports information director at Defiance College, a small, tiny college in Northwest Ohio, and not other, industries like professional sports or something like that. And that job changed everything, changed the path. I ended up getting a master's degree there in education just because they offered it as part of my graduate assistantship. It wasn't something that I knew I needed. And through that, I really just ended up recognizing what I didn't recognize before, and that's the value of higher education. And that was a different environment than what I'd been in before. I was at a huge state school as an undergrad. And being in a situation like that and making such great connections, that's what really set me on that path. And, it really just almost became like intoxicating, like where you're helping people at a very pivotal time in their lives. And so I wanted to keep doing that.
yeah, the energy when you're on campus is infectious. It's something that you just when you're there, you can just soak it in and be like, ah, this is great.
Absolutely. And you don't really realize that until you get into a place. So yeah.
Yeah. The marketing tool I can't live without is
Uh, Hope this is an acceptable answer. It's rhetoric. I consider rhetoric a tool, just like a whiteboard, but I can't live without rhetoric because when used properly, it can make all the difference in the work that we do. I think that I say this and it's overstated, but we can buy ads, we can buy ad space, we can buy, ways for people to get our message, but what message are they getting? What rhetoric are they getting from us? And does it make them do something? And so the most important part of anything and the thing that encapsulates those important parts within that is just rhetoric in general. And I can't live without it.
fantastic. In the next 5 years, I'd like to
Make an impact. I've started with higher ed now and the situation where it's not completely understood or understood accurately and is not seen with the amount of value that it has held in the public view in the past. It really makes me want to make an impact across the board when it comes to that. And I think to do that, we need to take risks and we need to do things that are remarkable, like truly to be remarked upon. And I am comfortable, you're never comfortable, but I'm comfortable with the idea of taking risks, and I will unapologetically fight for a public good like higher education is. And I will ship work that is not usual, for lack of a better word. You might see I don't know if this is a video, but you might see the Bengals poster behind me. I decided to start and develop and see through a multi-year partnership with the Cincinnati Bengals to become their official university, official partner university. And that, as you can imagine, has many naysayers and many, all of the details are public record. So I field all those calls, but it's something I completely stand behind. I and other people worked out the numbers and saw the value in it. And it was something where one of the things for us is being 30 miles outside of Cincinnati. Nobody in Cincinnati knows where we are.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of just kind of our landscape. But so we really need, as a brand, to get into Cincinnati. And in my opinion, we can dance around it. We can try a lot of things, or we can go for it and actually do it.
Okay. But I'm not working. I'm
With my family, my partner, and our triplet boys. I'm hopefully coach. Yeah, I always default to 5 now, and I can't believe that they're 12. But so that is what I'm doing all the time. If I'm fortunate, I'm coaching Little League baseball or basketball and doing some yelling, but still coaching pretty poorly. But it's fun. And if I'm not doing that, I'm doing other great stuff. We have a son who's autistic, and I might be helping him with his iPad and spending awesome time with him, or doing a really fun dad activity of yard work. So
I coach my daughter at soccer sometime. It's embarrassing how competitive I can get.
I know I really have to keep that under control. And I am one of those coaches who sends out a letter at the beginning of the year, an email that says, we will not yell at the officials. We will not, like, it's unacceptable. And then there are times where I'm making people stand in front of me while I bite my tongue and crouch down low so that no one can hear me yelling to myself.
Okay, I start my day at
5 a.m. Our autistic son, love him. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I say that even in the face of my other kids. He's just awesome. He is an automatic alarm at 5 a.m. ever since he was born. So that is an automatic everyday thing.
It's great. Well, we start the morning though. Great smiles. The secret to students exceeding at my school is
I would say taking advantage of all the opportunities available to you and at least exploring them. And that is at the very least. And literally, if you've never done it, you should check out the Dungeons and Dragons Club. If you've never played soccer, you should join an intramural soccer team. If you're not doing that, whatever that student's measure of success is, and that can be different. That can be very different for people. That can be ending up on the trading floor, and others it can be, I want to understand this philosophical question. And I have, those type of things to think about. If you're not doing all of those things, again, you're not taking advantage of all of the opportunities, and I think you're much less likely to be successful and to actually even find what success is for you. Because I think that often changes, especially during those 4 years. When you learn things like that, you find out you're into Dungeons and Dragons, and then, that's something that you didn't know before that might affect what you do. And so the secret to success at our institution, and I would say any institution, is getting out there and doing it when every part of your normal being is telling you to lay on your couch and play video game. Stop it, get out, go check out that group, get uncomfortable, and be more successful because of it.
Yeah. I admire the marketing at.
The University of Nebraska. And this answer changes a lot. And this just happens to be because I only just recently saw one of their ads. So this is not based on a whole lot. But I also say that too because it's admittedly a sea of sameness with a lot of the work that we all do and something that we really all need to try to get away from. But right now, the University of Nebraska, their television commercial is simply a voice, an actual voicemail from the mom of a student that she just sent saying thanks because my student is having a great time there, and she gets choked up saying it, and then it's really just like kind of random b-roll footage other than that, but the voicemail is so authentic, and it's like if I'm watching a football game and that comes on and the other schools is the Three in the Tree and the Beakers and all of that, I forget that the minute it goes off.
We get some
And then I hear a weird crackly voicemail from a mom saying that this university is the best thing that's ever happened to my daughter. I'm like, there's my answer.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. It gets the emotions.
Right.
The biggest challenge facing higher education marketers
Is being risk averse and being in an industry that is risk averse. And so I think a lot of times we are all very insular communities. And so we're all surrounded by people who care about our institutions.
Yeah.
And it's hard for most of us to realize that not even really those people, but no one outside of those people thinks of you at all.
Mm.
And I think that every institution thinks of like, oh, well, people wake up thinking about University of Nebraska. And it's like, no one's thought about you. No offense to them. I would say this about anybody, unless something remarkable happened. You know, Disney and Apple can do the thing where everyone knows them. Everyone else, you have to do something to grab their attention. So
do you think the collective decision making within an institution also takes the risk opportunities away as well?
yep, definitely. But I would still say, and definitely be willing to figure out what the true answer is. I would say what underlies that is fear. Is fear of something being too much, of being whatever, and that's just a part of myself that I just eliminated a couple years ago. And so I got comfortable with that, but obviously that's a challenge to get everyone on board in that type of situation where it's going to go to from committee to committee. And so that is definitely in all of the challenges that we face in public perception and everything else. We can't be meek and scared about what we're saying. And that's how we usually are.
Yeah. Okay, my favorite social media channel is and why?
Vine. Vine, it's my favorite and it doesn't exist anymore. And for the 90% of people who hear this who don't know what Vine is, it was a short video based social media in like 2010, 11, 12
That's great.
that just hit at the right time. And for me, and it was complete nonsense. It was people tying together things that other people had done in the way that people do very professionally now on something like Instagram. But it was just at the time something that was just so irreverent and fun and and authentically creative. There wasn't the big money there that there is now. And so just the things that people would end up coming up with, I would just sit there and laugh forever. And then of course it went away. And I will answer the question though and say LinkedIn, and that's really because it's the only one I use anymore. I have to shield myself from reality to survive. sometimes, and that's one of the things that I've grown away from. But so LinkedIn, it's not necessarily that it's great or that I love it. It's just the only one that I use, and it is good in a lot of ways.
I think as well with social media, I used to be hard on myself for not being more active on different channels. But the reality is, I kind of made peace with this thing of like, just be happy with the one that you use.
That is totally it, and that's what I've learned probably more than anything that goes throughout any of these answers, is I just learned that at a certain point, this is who I am.
Yes.
And, you know, and everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and someone's might be knowing every social media channel and every best practice within it. That's not mine. And it can't be, because I can't be seeing my uncle's take on the latest election at 6 in the morning, because it ruins the rest of my day. And so I just have to stay away from it. And I'm better for it, but it does take away that awareness.
My biggest professional achievement is
It is the Bengals deal. So it was creating and orchestrating and navigating that. It took about a year to come together. It took a lot of convincing. It took phone calls with general counsel on Thanksgiving morning, and just really going for it and being behind it. And again, like I said before, doing something bold and having that actually happen. And we're in a situation now where the assets that we receive through that are paying off in ads on the radio, ads in the stadium, ads on their website, other interactions with them. But then most of all, what we put into it were opportunities for students. And that's the thing that is super rewarding in the end, is being actually on LinkedIn and seeing a student say, I just got hired full time after doing my internship through Miami with the Cincinnati Bengals. And it's like, if I had a small part in that for one person, like, good to go. Like, I don't need to know anything else the rest of my career. I'm good. And so that, with all the challenges and the scope and the risk involved, that is my favorite.
great. On the other side of the coin, your biggest professional mistake was
There are so many, and so it's hard to pick, but I'd say leaving my first job, leaving Defiance College. I walked into something special there that I didn't know was special. It was one of those things where it was just a fit for me, and it was a fit for where I was at that time in my life. And I met my wife there. So I also have this very romantic, like, image of everything with that. But because it was my first job, I didn't know. There's no way you're going to recognize that it's a great job when it's literally your first. And so I'm looking out and I'm saying, well, at that time, like I said, wanting to work in sports, I want to end up being the sports information director for Notre Dame football. Like, and until that happens, I'm not satisfied. And then you just learn, I'm 46 now, you learn by 30 or 30, like 35, like, that is the dumbest thing to think, like, in the world. Like, thinking that something like that goal is the thing that matters. And it's like the saying goes, it's the journey that matters, and the people that I met there. And I left for a job it was like higher profile. It was just more attention and everything like that. And it was like the second I opened my office door, I was like, this was a mistake. And then, didn't, that had to, or at least wasn't comfortable at that time the way that I would be now. Like, oh, this isn't right, I'm going to move on. Being in that and just having that miserable experience of being in a miserable job for me, that was a huge mistake that I learned at that.
part of the journey.
Yeah.
What's working in higher ed right now is
I would say if we're asking about higher ed as an industry and not higher ed marketing, everything is working in higher ed. higher ed is changing people's lives. It's educating the future generation. It's bringing opportunities to people who need them. And the only way it's not working is honestly with research that's not being done now because it's not being funded now. That is the only thing that's not working. Higher ed is working. It is doing what it has always done, and it is not what people perceive in so many ways when they look at like the top 1 or 2% of what some institutions cost and what they do. And so the research not happening now is going to be awful because in 30 years we're not going to have solutions that we would have had otherwise. And we're all benefiting from research that was funded 30 years ago, and we're not going to know what we're suffering through that we don't have to in 20 years, and that's the reality.
Yeah. A key to my success has been
Calming down. And if I had started leading earlier than when I did, I started like around 37. uh I had to go through years of therapy first, literally. Like if the therapy hadn't come first, it would have been really ugly. I would have been a perfectionist. I would have been an absolutist. I would have been unforgiving of myself, which
working
was
up your shadow.
exactly. And so what I can do now and what makes like that first part of learning survivable is being reasonable with yourself, forgiving yourself for mistakes, and not worrying about like, yes, you may have said the wrong thing in that meeting, like according to that the politics of the room or whatever. For like, okay,
Yeah.
move on. And just brain shut up.
I totally agree with you. I think managing your emotions when you get to leadership, it's like, no, you got to move on. You can't let something in the day make you angry from 9 o'clock till 3. You got stuff to do. Like, be productive.
It really is. It's not survivable otherwise, I would say. And in just thinking about that question, like there are a lot of things that could be what the key is, if there was something specific. But I really do think that the first thing that needs to be there is that you need to have calmed down with yourself.
Yeah. One thing I've learned about managing teams is
People are so different. People are more different than I thought they were before I started managing teams. And I don't know if this is saying the same thing, but there are more extreme differences. And so I don't know. I came up in a sports world, kind of like I mentioned before, and so I came up with those sayings like from Vince Lombardi, the old football coach, like I treat every player equally, like a dog, like, and it's like what a moron! Like that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard, and like I'm joking, of course, and he was very successful. All you Packer fans out there. Um, but obviously it's a different time, and people want and need to be understood and heard and cared about. And no one's coming in here saying, hey, I want to ruin stuff today. I just want to shut this place down to a grinding halt. And that's the kind of thing where if someone's trying to lead like that today, and I would sincerely try to my best to laugh them out of the room.
I love my job because
I get to help people with a really hard decision that comes really early in their life, and that's not fair. And I don't know why we're necessarily set up the way that we are. Probably goes back for some silly reason, but there are thousands of higher ed institutions, and there are probably within those thousands, there are 100 institutions for each student that they don't know about that would change their life.
Mm.
And I was one who I didn't even visit anywhere. I went to Michigan State because my sister went there before me, and like that was my I don't think I took a tour anywhere.
Yeah.
And it just I did it the absolute worst way you could possibly do it. And Michigan State is great. They provided a great education, everything. I can say pretty conclusively it wasn't the right place for me after being in higher ed for 25 years now. And but so like the very simple thing is just look at all of your reasonable options. Like, I'm not saying go to University of Hawaii, but check out every community college around you. Check out the state schools that are a bit out of the way for you. Like, they might just have the right vibe for you, and they might teach in a way that connects with you. And if you end up in a different, a higher paying field, for example, because they're doing a better job of connecting with you, like that is exponentially changing your life. And again, something that I just did as poorly as you could possibly do. And uh, I get to help people not do that poorly now.
Sounds great. Nate, thanks for being on Quickfire. Appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.